there, fans, and welcome back to No Recipe Required. What I'm going to do for you today is another pork tenderloin dish. This one is one of my favorites because it cooks so quick, and of course it tastes so good. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to butterfly the pork tenderloin, which is essentially taking, pork tenderloin is kind of like your arms. We're going to cut it open, we're going to spread it open just like a book, so it's really kind of chicken breast thin and really wide. It gives a ton of surface area that is perfect for searing, which creates a ton of flavor. I'm going to use a little bit of barbecue sauce or barbecue spice, do it on the grill, but it is getting a little chillier, so you can absolutely do the same method, same techniques inside, in a pan, or even on a grill pan. No difference really, just no different techniques. Time's going to be the same, philosophy is going to be the same. High heat, cook it quick, get that mark, get that sear on there, finish it off. It's going to be spectacular. It's tender, it's flavorful, and it's easy. It's about 10 minutes to cook it once it hits the heat. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so what I'm doing here is taking the silver skin off the pork, and you just got to use a nice sharp long knife here. You pull it up on the end and then just kind of slide your knife underneath the skin. If this is too hard for you, if you don't want to do it, you can certainly skip it. You can ask the butcher to do it. They'll be happy to do it. But you see how I'm just kind of tucking my knife in underneath there. Just peel it off. It comes off relatively easy. You just want to take not too much meat off. Then once we're ready to butterfly, so I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to cut kind of 3/4 of the way down, leaving maybe ½ an inch on the bottom. It's not the center mark. And just run the knife along the side of the pork tenderloin there, and we're just trying to open it up kind of like a book. I'm not cutting all the way through. It's kind of, again, like 3/4 through. And spread it open. You can use your knife like this to just gently pull it apart a little bit more. And then once you get it kind of fully open, you're going to have that one side a little thinner than the other. So we put a couple more cuts into the thicker side, and that is going to open up the pork tenderloin a little bit more. You can get it really, really flat. And if you need to, we can hammer it down just a little bit more. All right, so we've got our tenderloin. I butterflied it. It's in a bag here. I'm going to hammer it down a little bit more just to get it even thickness. A little bit of oil in there kind of helps everything lubricate. Make sure you don't tear the meat. So just throw that in there, spread it around, make sure you got the meat coated. And I like doing it in one of these Ziploc bags because it just keeps all the raw meat juice all in one place. I've got my trusty wine bottle here, and I'm going to tap, tap, tap and get just kind of thicker parts of the tenderloin down to an even thickness. And what that's going to allow me to do is essentially cook it really, really quickly because it's nice and thin, obviously, and not thick or it won't take nearly as long to cook this thin piece of meat as the whole pork tenderloin. And then this also gives more surface area to sear. Now, I'm using a little bit of barbecue spice on it. You can kind of throw anything on here. Cumin, I think, is spectacular with pork. This, like I said, little barbecue rub, store-bought. Throw it in there a couple hours before you're going to cook it. Maybe a little bit more olive oil just to have it all nicely coated. Seal the bag, throw it in the fridge, let it marinate, let those flavors absorb, and we'll take it out about ½ an hour before we're ready to cook it. All right, so we've got our pork that has sat for a couple hours in the fridge. I took mine actually out of the fridge, just let it sit in the bag on the counter for about 15 minutes. So it's starting to come up to room temperature. You want it fully at room temperature before we cook it off. And we got that rub on there, but we don't have any salt and pepper. So we're going to hit it with both. Good pinch of salt, good pinch of pepper on both sides. And then maybe let it sit for another 10 minutes. That'll let the salt just kind of melt in there. And it'll get the pork up to room temperature fully. I've already turned on my grill, so that is getting nice and hot for us so we can get a good sear on the pork. All right, so a nice hot grill. Hot as it goes, room temperature pork, throw it right on the grill there. Let it sear. Don't touch it for at least 4 or 5 minutes. So after 4 or 5 minutes, your sides become nice and opaque like that. We're going to flip it over. We're going to see some nice grill marks because we had a hot grill and we didn't touch it. Okay, so we've gone now another 4 or 5 minutes. Total cooking time like 10 minutes. That's all you need when it's cooked down this thin. We've got great sear on both sides, still tender in the middle. I like it, kind of medium, barely medium well. And it's going to be perfect. We're going to slide it off to a plate, let it rest for a few minutes. All right, our pork tenderloin has rested now. I've got a little barbecue sauce there. I think it just adds a little bit more flavor. Using a little brush, you can use a spoon. You could completely skip it. Maybe a little finishing salt on it, a little salt and pepper. You do that before the grill. You can always add a little bit more afterwards, but I like doing it before. Let it rest before we cut it. I like, kind of cut it against the grain, certainly against the grill marks. Still makes it look nice and cool. Serve as much as you want. I'm going to go a couple honking portions. You can see it's nicely kind of cooked, still tender and juicy. These pork tenderloins are, they're one of my favorites to cook. We're going to serve mine up. I've got some homemade fries here, big honking fries, a little bit of corn. We'll throw our pork down on the plate. And what I also made with this is a great little kind of grilled relish of vegetables. So I've got some like radicchio here, some peppers, some onions. You chop them all up, a little bit of olive oil and vinaigrette in there. Throw it on top. It's a great little addition. Kind of any grilled meat at all. Give this a try. I hope you love this butterflied tenderloin. I'm sure you will. And I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required. This butterflied pork tenderloin grilled was an absolutely spectacular recipe. I enjoyed it anyway. I hope you did. Don't forget to subscribe because I'm throwing more videos up every single week. And 2 more pork tenderloin links that you got to check out. One, these little pork medallions really elevates the dish. I think it's absolutely spectacular. And another fancy dancy one, I like stuffing pork tenderloin. It's a great way to do it. Very impressive for your guests. Give that a try. Here's a link to it. Check them out. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required.